Since 2003, this is The Sports Source with your host, John Pennington.
The Sports Source is presented by Junk Be Gone, Pipe Wrench, and the Garza Law Firm.
The Sports Source starts now.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome into the Junk Be Gone studios for today's ETSU postgame show that's really more of a Georgia pregame show. Tennessee with 72 points yesterday, new school record. The old one lasted for a year. So new school record in terms of points. 41 first downs, new school record. Over 700 yards, I believe. It was the 500th win for Tennessee at Neyland Stadium. Big day yesterday, big day, and extremely meaningful. So we'll talk a little bit about ETSU, and then we look forward. The real season is here. It is here. Georgia is upon us, and it's as big a prove-it game for Georgia as it is Tennessee. That is a very young team. They have questions about what is their quarterback going to look like in a big-time SEC game, and they're going to be on the road. So we're going to dive into ETSU and a whole lot of Georgia. Let's get into it. First segment of our show brought to you by our friends at the Garza Law Firm. Next week, as I say, when Georgia arrives, it'll be the Vols who have home field advantage. And if you have to go to court for any reason at all, you need to make sure that you have home field advantage too. Marcos Garza and the Garza Law Firm. From here, based here, there is absolutely no reason in the world why you would want to go and get one of these attorneys who's advertising as though they're in Knoxville, but you look on their website and they're actually, Birmingham. Oh, they're in Memphis. Yeah, get somebody who knows the local playing field. That's Garza Law. Find more at garzalaw.com. All right, let's welcome in the first wave of panelists. We have 4 more waiting to go, so 9 folks on today's show. Jimmy Himes right there. Former Vol captain and offensive lineman Mike Stoll. Mike, thanks for coming over.
Glad to be here.
Right here, Ollie Lane, couldn't get it out. Former Vol offensive lineman, so I'm well protected here. That's good. And right over there trying to get to me is the former pass rusher for Tennessee, Will Overstreet. Very good. Look, schedule a game of kick the can. You're supposed to kick the can, and they kick the can of ETSU all the way back to East Tennessee State. Congratulations, that's good. Passing numbers, we can go ahead and put those up. They look good. The passing game numbers were pretty positive. I don't know if we've got, there we go. Aguilar, 23 of 31, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and big key, no interceptions on the season so far. Chris Brazel, 9 catches, 125, 2 touchdowns. Mike Matthews, 6 catches, 111 and a touchdown. Braylon Staley had 5 catches. Miles Kitzelman had 3 catches. My question, and I will start with Mike Stoll. Numbers look good. You're playing against so-so competition. How do you feel about the pass game so far and how it looked yesterday when you put it in terms of Georgia's next?
Well, I think if you look at the way that he's played and talking about school, he has passed the quizzes. There are quizzes so far. Syracuse, ETSU, those are quizzes. Now he's got a big exam coming up. And so he's done what he's supposed to do. He's not thrown the interceptions. I think he's thrown the ball and known, and he's shown where his checkdowns are. So he's showing that he understands, hey, this is my outlet. These are the guys that I throw to if my guys aren't open. What I think I see is he is waiting to throw the ball when the receiver gets open versus I'm going to throw the ball because I know the receiver's getting open. And so he's not seeing that gel yet. And that's on the receivers, and that's on him as well. So he's like, okay, he's not open, I'm going to throw to my check down. So he's checking down too soon versus going, okay, he's going to be open, I'm throwing and I'm anticipating. So the anticipation is not quite there yet.
I thought he was really accurate throwing the football in particular. He only played the first half. But he out of his first 20
You're
or so
right, he
passes.
was much better in the first half than he was in the second half.
Yeah,
Well, he didn't.
first quarter.
Yeah, he was just,
But he didn't hardly miss a throw through the first 20 passes he attempted. He threw one away. The rest of them were pretty much on target. So, I mean, that's better than what I saw when Tennessee played Austin Peay a few years ago, right?
Oh, yeah.
So he did his job. He was accurate. For the most part, the receivers caught passes. 2 of them had 100
He had
yards.
a couple drops, I thought.
So, for the most part.
Yeah.
So I thought the passing game looks better. Now, it is a completely different test. Yeah. You know, you're going from simple math to calculus. So this is going to be very difficult to deal with. Although Georgia, you know, when you watch them, they're gettable. We'll see if Tennessee can get them.
They didn't look great yesterday in their own kick-the-can game. Now, that was a weird one that they moved the start time up an hour on everybody. So I don't know how that would impact a player if we're going to be starting here, and they had thunderstorms, so they moved it up, and they looked disjointed and sloppy.
And you had a long halftime delay as well.
Yeah. So that was a weird game, but it's a test for both teams. There's no question. In terms of the pass game so far, being the pass protection, being the receivers catching the ball, getting open, or Aguilar making good decisions. What are your thoughts on the pass game that you've seen through 2 games?
I mean, just he looks comfortable in this system for sure. And, I mean, the one thing that I do want to commend him on is it seems like he got into the film room this week after the Syracuse game, didn't see, it felt like in Syracuse a lot of his quick pass, bubble screens, all that kind of stuff, they were sailing over our guys' heads. It didn't seem like today you saw a lot of that today. There was a couple passes that were thrown behind the receiver at times, but all in all, ball placement was a lot better. I really thought our receivers took a big step forward to where they need to be. Majority of that game, you saw the same 3 guys, Staley, Matthews, and Brazel in there the entire time. So if those are the guys that they're going to rely on, having big yards numbers like Brazel and Matthews had that game is what you're going to need continuing down this season.
I expected more deep shots yesterday. The one I got was one pass that I don't think he was wise to throw it. Spectacular play by Mike Matthews to track it and get it. But you typically don't want to have 2 receivers right next to each other and you kind of throw it up for grabs. Against Georgia, that might not be a touchdown. But I didn't see a lot of the deep shots, which I expected to see. Did Tennessee have receivers, for those of you who were in the stadium yesterday, did Tennessee have receivers running open that he wasn't throwing it to? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's what I refer to in the fact that, he is – again, he is trying to show, hey, first of all, I think everybody's like, oh, he threw a lot of interceptions at App State. So I think he's playing a focus on the fact that I'm not going to throw the interceptions. I do like the fact, you mentioned he takes coaching well. He's adjusted his footwork better. His outside passes, his quick outs, his throws were not sailing on him. I think the thing that you see is when he's going out there, again, I think it's all about a little bit of the timing of the fact of, okay, you're going, and that receiver is still breaking through his route. He's like, okay, he's not open, and I'm going to choke down. Or he's waiting for him to get open. And, again, it's all about anticipation. Like, there's the window that I'm going to throw to, and I trust that my receiver is going to be there. So I think I watched, as I saw, when he would start to throw the ball out, you'd see that receiver break open. And so you're like, okay, it's there. Yeah. He's not quite in the groove with that yet. I think if he goes back and sees it on the film, we'll see if he makes that adjustment.
Well, it also may be the fact that you had a preseason camp where basically all those guys were together for the last 2 weeks, and that's it. Because you were battling at quarterback, splitting reps, your receivers were off the side or off to the side for much of those first 2 weeks. So you didn't get a full camp to get those guys and build that chemistry and know what each other likes. Will, thoughts on the passing game so far?
Yeah, it's been good so far. I mean, it's hard to pick at it. You've seen some things and corrections, but it got better yesterday in what you saw from Syracuse. The problem I still have is right now is you're not getting a lot of pressure, right? His clock is not sped up right now. He hadn't had anybody put some pressure on him early on, and then all of a sudden he's going, I've got 2.5 seconds or 2 seconds, and I got to make a decision. So you can still see him sitting back there. And like we talked about last year, Nico, a little bit, there's a difference between a pocket that's a good pocket versus non-SEC foes compared to the SEC foes. Because it's all of a sudden going from your home bathroom to an airplane bathroom, right? And you got to be able to throw out of that. And so I just look at that and go, okay, I see the good things when we're kind of on air and we're playing flag football, but we're about to be not in flag football anymore. And that's where you got to go see what is he going to do when he faces adversity, because he's going to get lit up a couple of times. And not just by, a kind of not a great athlete. You're going to get hit by somebody that's going to play on Sunday.
Right.
And so that's where you're going to start feeling like, what does his clock do and how does he make decisions in that part of the game?
I think it's safe to say the pass game has looked better than we anticipated at this point.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think and the 0 interceptions is huge for me. But this is the test. Georgia's the first real test. Now, one thing that we talked about in the offseason, I had somebody that didn't like me talking about it because they got onto our YouTube channel. It's like, well, if you want to go get positive UT coverage, come over here. Watch this channel, not these guys. And it was because we kept saying, keep hearing issues about snapping the football, going all the way back to spring. Yesterday, now that guy had to sit there and go, what? I didn't know, because he went to get positive coverage. We told you there were issues at center in terms of the snaps. There were a couple of awkward ones that Aguilar had to grab against Syracuse. Yesterday, you gave up a touchdown by doing that. You do that against Georgia, you're beat.
Yeah.
Thoughts, as somebody who you were a guard who got forced to go over and play center.
Yeah.
Tell me about look, snaps happen, but we've seen a couple now through just 2 games. I don't want to see one a game. But your thoughts on what we got yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just a mix of they're trying to push tempo, and as a center, when you're trying to push tempo, especially new in that position, the snap's the last thing you got to think about. I mean, you want to make sure that snap's 100% every single time, and I mean, the fact is it's going to get squirrely on you throughout the time. It's just how well you can rein it in. You know, luckily for me,
hopefully not. That was pretty squirrely yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, luckily for me, I had a 6'9" quarterback that made things easier. But when you got a guy, and you got to make sure that you're getting it where he wants it to, because I mean, even snaps here or there can have drastic changes.
Changes the timing.
Exactly. So I mean, you want to try to get it in the breastplate every single time when you can, but you don't want that to be a major focus that you're focusing on at center, because if you're thinking about the snap, you're not getting anything else done.
Mike, did you ever play center?
I did.
Okay.
A few years in the CFL, so it was a little bit different.
When you were at Saskatchewan?
Well,
Shreveport.
And Shreveport.
Hey.
Billy Joe Tolliver used to get mad at me because if I snapped it and the laces weren't right where he could get it and throw it out, he would get mad.
That's how accurate you wanted it.
That's how he wanted it, and I could get it there. So it's something to work at. But I will tell you, you're absolutely right. Ollie's right. And then, okay, well, let's think about it. You got a guy across from you that's going to ETSU that probably didn't have any D1 offers. Yeah. And now you got a guy who, like Rain Cloud says over here, is playing on Sunday. That snap's really important. Then you got a guy breathing down, and then you have one bad snap, and it can roll out of you. So, that's the not only a test for Aguilar, but Pendleton's got a huge test.
As a defender, if you know you've had a guy that's had a bad snap or two. You didn't play nose tackle.
Kirby Smart, big play. I'm going to line, a big passing place, 3rd and long. I'm going to test the guy early on and put a guy head up on him, or have the linebacker walk right up on him and show I'm coming, and see does his discipline get, does he have more chance to have bad snaps when he has that guy right in front of him on top of him.
Jimmy, any other positive you want to close out the ETSU portion with?
Running backs. I really like Tennessee's running backs for him. I'm hard pressed to find an SEC team that's got a 3rd-team running back as good as Star Thomas.
Yeah.
He is really good. So
I'm not so sure he's not the best.
I'm not either. Yeah, he's led him in rushing the last 2 games as a 3rd-teamer. So I think the running back room is really strong for Tennessee. It ranks with the best in the SEC, may be the best in the SEC. We'll find out as we go along, but I think that's a really strong group.
Agreed. All right. When we come back, let's talk about Tennessee's health going into the Georgia game. Who will be and who won't be on the field, and who should be on the field. Let's talk about David Sanders. Do you put him out there for meaningful snaps since he's never played yet? Is he going to be available at all? We'll talk about that next. Come on back on the Sports Source.
Not always what you want to hear, but exactly what you need to hear. This is the Sports Source.
Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment is brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. You know what it takes for a business to last 105 years? A commitment to the customer. And the Hines family takes great pride in helping East Tennesseans build their dream projects. It also takes quality merchandise. For the best building materials at fair prices, you better turn to A.G. Hines Company, aghines.com to learn more. They've got a location in Knoxville. They have a location up in Upper East Tennessee and Blunteville as well. A.G. Hines Company. All right, before we get to the poll question, I want to introduce our panel right over here. Chuck Cavalaris. Chuck, thanks for being here.
Great to be here, John.
The Cavalaris line took a little bit of a hit this week. We'll see. We might have a photo of you. We'll see how you react. Right here, we got Josh Ward back with us. Josh, thank you.
Thank you.
Sterling Hinton, VFL quarterback right there. Sterling, thank you.
John P.
Right there, Bob Hodge. Thank you very much. Let's do the poll question. Here we go. What is your level of worry for Georgia? We're doomed. That's 5%. Normal worry, 56%. Less than usual, 28%. And then 11% of you saying, it's our year. So what you got to do is you got to take your smartphone, point it at that QR code right beneath the Hearthside Bank logo, and play along with us. You can also go to our website, sportsource.tv or ssdn.tv. Both of them go to the same place. That's easier, SSDN, Sports Source Digital Network. Play along with us. I love following the mood of the fan base and watching that little orange lines move. That's fun, too. All right. Gentlemen, after 2 games, the Vols' depth is already being tested a bit. But does Georgia have the artillery to attack the Vols where they're missing 2 men, which is the secondary? Gunnar Stockton has not looked great shake so far. He hasn't had a big day. He looked good against Marshall, but that's you got to take it into consideration. He has not had a big day. He didn't look great in Notre Dame in the playoff game when he was thrown into action. Is he ready for Tennessee? Do they have the weapons to attack Tennessee, where the Vols will be without Jermod McCoy, unless there's some sort of drastic, shocking change, and Ricky Gibson, who's gone for a long time. So your depth is going to be tested. But, Bob, does Georgia have the means to test you there?
At this point, I don't think we know. But I think if you throw in the fact that you're missing 2 corners and the depth on your defensive line is also hurt, that to me is a part of the same story. Because Tennessee came in, the defensive line wasn't as deep this year as it was last year, but it was still really, really good. And you had 2 premier corners. And so now your defense has degraded that much in 2 weeks. So, I think Georgia's going to have the weapons to attack it, simply because they're attacking guys now who are less experienced and less talented because they were backups. So, I think that's a little bit of an advantage Georgia.
And I was going to do the defensive line next with a run game question, but that's all right. Just throw it out there. Are you worried about Georgia's passing attack against Tennessee at this point, considering you're without McCoy and Gibson? Even though I know a lot of people look at Stockton and go, are you concerned?
Yeah, a little bit, because I think Georgia's receiver group combined with the tight end, so their pass-catching options, I think, are really good. I think Zachariah Branch from USC was a great get. Dylan Bell has caused problems for Tennessee over the last couple of years. And then we saw what the tight ends were able to do. So similar to what you guys talked about in the last segment about Joey Aguilar is going to be tested, Tennessee needs to test Gunnar Stockton. They need to put pressure on him and force him into making plays, try to make him make some mistakes, because I do think that they can win on the outside with some of the guys they brought in if they get a chance to make those plays.
Yeah, I think you still have to be some concerned about some of those seam routes that seem to give Tennessee fits, doesn't it? I mean, even yesterday, East Tennessee State hit ones for 40 yards. They don't line up right. But last year, Georgia led the SEC, led the country, I think, in drop passes. And they were near the bottom in rushing yards. So if they come in with receivers that are making plays, catching the ball, and they're able to run somewhat better, I think you have to be concerned.
Well, that's where we get to the run. You've got Jackson Moy. Is he going to be back?
Yeah.
That's boy, you better hope so. If you're without both those guys and Moy, Devin Hobbs still out, you're tested all over that defense right now. And we talked about it in the offseason that it's the offense where you've got all the questions, but you look better on defense.
Yeah.
Well, that's being tested with all of the guys who are hurt. Sterling, your thoughts on Tennessee's depth, and is it ready? Does a game like ETSU get you ready for Georgia?
I think a game like ETSU gets the second teams ready in case something happens to make the depth stronger.
Yep.
Now, what I believe is that our second teamers we have right now are better than some of the competition they've seen thus far. So it might be a test in our mind because our premier guys aren't ready. But what we got inside the stock is better than what they've seen so far.
Better than Marshall and Austin Peay.
That's how I'm putting it down.
Okay.
And see, I don't disagree with that. I think that's a good point. But you're also going with the guys who are much less experienced. And that's where my concern comes, because I think Tennessee's recruiting, they've got talented guys, but you're less experienced back there. And so that's where my concern comes from.
I get it, but the only way you're going to get experience is put them in. But put me in the game, coach. Put me in, coach. Let's play.
Yeah, I didn't anticipate. We'll see how the picks go today. We'll see where you put the line. But if you told this room McCoy, Gibson, Moy are all 100%, I think the chances of somebody taking Tennessee next week go miles up.
Yeah,
I think you'd have some people picking the Vols. Without them, it's a question.
Without them, you're down to Sterling.
Well, it would change our answers to your question about the DBs versus what they have with their passing attack. If you have a first-team All-American in Jermod McCoy and Gibson who has all-SEC potential.
Going against a quarterback who really hasn't proven himself yet. Instead, it's kind of the unproven versus the unproven in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's one of the great questions in the game.
Thank you. It's also one of the great exactly right. Last one, and I meant to get this bigger. David Sanders doesn't play again yesterday. Now, you talk about NIL dollars, okay? You spent on David Sanders, Ricky Gibson, Jermod McCoy. There's a chance those guys don't play, and Jackson Moy got some too. But McCoy a lot. Gibson got a raise this offseason. Sanders got paid huge to come here. And you could go into your biggest game of the year and not have any of them out there on the field. That's a bad deal. Here's my question, though. Sanders hasn't played this year. Do you give him snaps against Georgia? And I don't mean, well, if it's out of hand. I mean, do you play him and play him early against Georgia if it's meaningful?
Only if you're struggling early and you think, okay, we're getting beat out there at tackle, we might as well bring him in and play him. If you're holding your own with the starters that you've had out there, no, you ride them. And I don't think you're going to have a big lead against Georgia to where you can waste a couple of series. He only plays if you're already in trouble at that position.
15 seconds. Do you play him?
If he's practiced well, I give him a shot. If he's as good as we recruit him to be. If we recruit him to be that good and he's practiced well, let's go.
15 seconds.
He's got to be good to go physically. My initial thought when he's not playing against ETSU, when we find that out Saturday morning, was, oh, wait, is his first snap as a college player going to be against Georgia?
Exactly.
Which I'm sure Tennessee staff is thinking. So,
and Kirby Smart will be thinking that too.
And planning to try to take advantage of that. If he's playing, I'm not playing him the whole game.
And
It'd be more in a rotation.
if you don't see encouraging signs in practice, I don't think you can just throw him in the fire and put him out there. I think there's a better chance he doesn't play than he does play.
And for the record, it's just the way the rotation works out. I got 2 offensive linemen on the show, and I asked them before this segment. They said no. They would not have him out there in any kind of meaningful situation to start with. If the circumstances break one way or the other, okay. But their concern is you put him out there against this incredible speed of Georgia. He doesn't do well. Now you're breaking his confidence. So we'll talk more about all this stuff when we come back. Is there a blueprint to beating Georgia? I wouldn't ask if there weren't. Can Tennessee replicate the blueprint? That's the question. We'll show you the blueprint, and then we'll talk about it next. Come on back. Welcome back. This segment of the Sports Source brought to you by Elkmont Station, an always evolving menu of handcrafted food and completely unique cocktail recipes in a warm, inviting atmosphere. That's what you find at Elkmont Station. Whether it's pregame, postgame, date night, or business, visit Elkmont Station this week for a truly great and unique East Tennessee experience. All right, let's take a look at the Heupel keys. Boy, they clicked them all yesterday. No surprises there. The record got better in every one of these categories. Score 30 points or more, yes. Rush for 177 yards or more, yes. Rush for 3 touchdowns or more, yes. Complete 85% of your passes or better, yes. Allow 27 points or fewer, yes. Allow 99 or fewer rush yards, yes. Allow 349 or fewer total yards, yes. Commit 8 or fewer penalties, yes. So, big week for cooking the numbers there with the Heupel keys. Now let's talk about Georgia's keys. I went back over the last 4 years. I didn't get 2020. It gets a little wonky with that COVID year, so I just started 2021. It's Heupel's year, so let's look at that. All of the Georgia losses over those 4 years. It didn't take me long because there's only been 5. 5 losses, all right? And I wanted to see, are there any things that stand out? There are a few, but there aren't many. There aren't many, oh, well, when they lose, this happens. Like, no, not always. Let me take a look here. Let me show you the look at the blueprint. They've had 5 losses since 2021, 3 of them last season. 3 of them have been to Alabama. Ole Miss and Notre Dame were the other 2 last year, but they've had 3 losses of their 5 to Alabama. All of them were away from Athens, none of them at home. Georgia's 5 worst rushing days since 2021 were those losses. 80 yards, 59 yards, 62 yards, 78 yards, 109 yards. That's really the outlier, but all those others, 3 yards per carry or less. So stopping Georgia's run is key. Lost the turnover battle, -3, -2, -2, -1, -2. So they lost it, and typically they lost it by more than 1. So you need a lot of turnovers. In 5 losses, teams averaged 5.4 gains of 20 yards or more. So in their losses, other teams went for 20 yards or more 5 times. That is higher than the 2.8. That's almost double the number of 20-yard gains they give up in their wins. Okay, so my question is, let's start. Is Tennessee capable of holding Georgia down in that rushing game? They have run on Tennessee pretty well the last few years. We'll get into this later too. But, Jimmy, do you feel Tennessee can keep Georgia to under 100 yards rushing?
Not under 100 yards, but I don't think they'll go a lot more than 100 yards. I mean, they only
They didn't
ran
last year.
Against Austin Peay, they ran for 190. They don't. I think the running backs are good. I don't think they're great. I think their offensive line's pretty good. They were on the 1 yard line against Marshall, first and goal to goal, and didn't score. So that tells me that their offensive line is not exactly dominating, right? So I think Tennessee can hold. What I would look at is trying to hold them to 3.5 yards or less per carry. That would be a key number for me. And I think Tennessee can do that if they're healthy.
Yeah, if they're healthy.
Because Weatherby was another player on the defensive line that didn't play yesterday.
I think we know Tim Banks can force turnovers, and Georgia had two different backs fumbled yesterday to kill 2 drives.
Right. Yep.
Okay, so we think, Will, do you agree that tell me what you think about the run game. Can Tennessee slow them like we looked at in some of those numbers?
I think they have the ability to slow them and be able to do that. I think where you got to worry about is we've had some trouble on some kickouts to the weak side with the ends getting too wide at times. Sometimes they're coming underneath too much. So we've got some things we got to clean up. But I do think, does this team's ability and talent level, could you see a scenario where they hold Georgia to, I don't, like I said, agree with Jimmy, I don't think it's under 100 yards, but in the 100 to 120 kind of yards, yes, I think you can.
Okay, and then, so that's, yes, they can stop their run. Yes, we know they can force turnovers, and part of that's on Georgia, and they're turning the ball over. I'm going to give you the last one. Can Tennessee's offense create 5 plays of 20 yards or more?
So I think, yes, I think they can. But I think it's going to have to be, we saw Georgia 2 years ago here, first play, busted wide open. Now, Georgia made quick adjustments after that. I think what you're going to have to do is, can Aguilar now use his legs, right? Can you get him out of the pocket? Can he force some plays where people are starting to go? If he picks up a good gain, I think that starts bringing your defensive backs in a little bit. So then you have some other opportunities to get those bigger pops.
I think the other big challenge, and I think this is the biggest challenge for me, is a lot of times what Kirby Smart's done there is he's signing our wide receivers and he says, great, mono, I'm going to line the DB up on him tight, and he gets physical with our wide receivers, and they don't get off in their routes. That is where I think is going to be the biggest challenge, because if I'm him, that's my first challenge to this group of wide receivers. If I press coverage you and I'm right in your grill, can you get off and get to your timing routes or not?
Other thing I would say, Star Thomas out of the backfield catching the ball. I think his athletic ability and his speed. I think that's another place. If they're playing mano a mano, they got 5 in the box, okay, or 6 in the box. We're going to run. Who's going to key on him? Can he beat that linebacker one-on-one out into the open field? That can be your place where you can get those bigger plays.
When you think of 20-yard gains, you typically think of the passing game, right?
Yeah.
But Georgia up front has been so good, because Tennessee gets its fair share of runs of 20-plus yards.
Yeah.
Georgia's front is so good that even when they spread the field with Tennessee, Tennessee's not been able to run and find some of those gaps against Georgia like they have other teams. So that's going to be a concern with Tennessee's run game and getting explosive plays.
And I was looking at my phone here. I wanted to look something up based on what Will was talking about in terms of locking down your receivers. Chris Brazzell was really the only guy who played against Georgia last year. And his numbers against Georgia last year, 1 catch, 6 yards. So
that's the
not
challenge.
a great day. Miles Kitzelman was your leading receiver last year, 4 catches, 46 yards against Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, if you're looking for positivity, there you go. That's 2 of the, you think they could do all 3 of these? Yeah. I don't know about the one that I'm more questioning is
the big play. Yeah,
I haven't seen enough against Austin Peay and not Austin Peay, against Syracuse and ETSU. I would have liked to have seen
they had some
more
big
deep balls.
Big plays against ETSU.
They did, but I don't think that's going to carry on. But here's the other thing. But in terms of the deep ball, I remember last week everyone was talking about the deep ball is back in this offense. It's like there was one pass. What are we talking about? One. So far, you're basically, in terms of 30-yard passes, you're not that far ahead of where you were with Nico last year and Job the year before. That concerns me. So what can they break out against Georgia's DBs? When we come back, let's talk about speed and the fear factor. That's next on the Sports Source. Come on back. Welcome back. Get ready for the big game, the big Georgia game next week with us. Get a complete, honest, fun breakdown of Vols versus Bulldogs next Saturday at 11 a.m. right here. WATE TV 6, the Sports Source Saturday kickoff. Check that out. We'll be here at 11 a.m. next week. All right, this segment of our show brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Football season here, fall invaders coming soon behind them. That will be your box elder bugs, your ladybugs, your stink bugs. They all want in your house. And if you don't get the fall invader treatment from Southeast Termite and Pest Control, I can tell you, next January and February, you're going to have 50,000 little creatures on your windowsills and crawling up and down the windows. You don't want them. Let Southeast Termite and Pest Control come in and do the dirty work. They'll take care of them before they start breeding, before they start laying their eggs. SoutheastTermite.com to learn more. All right, let's take a look at the poll. Ooh, it shifted a little bit.
Oh.
What's your level of worry?
I came back on. Shit, I just measured it up.
40% say less than usual, not as worried. So remember that. We're going to be getting a question on that in 2 seconds. Josh and Mike, this is our Cover 2 segment, so 2 questions for 2 teams of 2, which should make it the Cover 2-2-2 segment.
Running quarters, maybe.
There you go.
2 cubed.
Tennessee, I don't know this math. What are you talking about? All right, Tennessee wanted a warm-up game before Georgia, and they got it. And they got experience for their guys. They got depth, worked on the depth issue. That's good. But Mike and Josh, you're now going to go from not so fast to the fastest you've seen all year. Does that counteract some of the good things you get from playing ETSU before Georgia, or no?
Well, John, ETSU and Syracuse players are on scholarship too.
There you go.
How many times has that been said?
That's right.
But then when they show up, they start running a lot faster at Georgia. So I've had so many qualifiers this week after the Syracuse game and with the ETSU game yesterday. I know it was Syracuse and ETSU, but, and then talking good about what Tennessee did. So what Tennessee did well applies. I think, Mike, what you hope is that in practice, the upgraded level of talent, the speed they see, what they go up against each other every day, wide receiver and DB, they're younger, but they are more athletic. I think you're hoping that has helped prepare you as much as the last 2 games have.
Yeah, I still think it's a big challenge. I think you go and, you watch them play against ETSU, and it was like they're running air routes. I mean, it wasn't competitive. Yeah. No pressure, and I think we'll talk about the pocket. That's when things get real serious. Things start collapsing. Things move quickly. I think that will be a difficult adjustment. Now, not for the whole game, but the first couple of series, you'll be like, man, you got to amp yourself up and you got to anticipate it. Are they going to be able to do it? Are they going to be able to say, okay, hey, it's going to move a lot faster? And yes, you are playing against that same almost caliber on practice, but they're not going that full speed that they're going in the game. So it is going to be a challenge. Hopefully, early on, they'll see that, adjust to it, and they may say, hey, let's ramp it up, let's go. I think you're going to see a little bit of a challenge. Sorry. Was I over?
When I'm doing this, cut to that, because that's me mocking him.
No,
that
okay.
was fine. That was fine.
Okay.
We just need to go.
I thought I was just talking too long.
Now, my director thought I must have actually been doing that, so he didn't show it. If you see me doing this to him, that means go to it, and I'm mocking him. All right, so we have a little time left. Now, Ollie and Will, in your opinion, and you see right there, 42% say they're less worried than usual about Georgia. 13% say it's our year. You're at 55% of this fan base. Not as worried as they have been. Is Georgia as scary as they used to be?
No, I don't believe they are. I mean, and I think a big factor to that is what the transfer portal has played into college football. It's created parity across the league. And you're seeing these teams that used to have just stacks and stacks of really talented depth. I mean, in the past, it looked like, the Georgias and the Alabamas of the world, their 2s and 3s could be the ones for us. Now you're not seeing that anymore because those 2s and 3s are getting paid to go play somewhere else. So it's kind of destroyed their depth perception on everything.
I think more teams have weaknesses somewhere, right? Like you had a Georgia defense a couple years ago, Jalen Carter and all those guys, DBs and everything, and you said, who's the weak link? And you went, they're kind of all SEC level talent. I mean, you looked at it and you just went, I don't have a lot of weaknesses. Now, without a lot of depth, you're an injury away from putting a guy out there that every coach is going to be like, yeah, we're going to be scared about that guy playing against any other SEC teams. I think that's where you have some concerns.
I agree with them. Do you guys agree with them?
I agree.
Yeah, I think their weak link 3 years ago was a 4th-round pick. I don't think that's the case now.
We all agree that they're not as talented. Unfortunately, 24/7 Sports does a team composite where they go, it's not just your recruiting rankings, they go back before the season and they find who's on the roster now and where those guys 5 stars, 4 stars, whatever. Let's take a look at that. Whoops. Georgia, number 1 in America in terms of talent on the roster now, based on those star ratings, but they've got 13 5-stars on that roster. Tennessee has 4.
We have more 3-stars.
They have 57. That's right. Great. Yeah. They have 57 4-stars to Tennessee's 43. So that's 14 and 9. Math? It's 23.
Thanks.
Yeah, 23. That's not cubed or anything. All right, so 23 more 4 and 5 stars than you have. You look down there, there's the SEC, and you see the asterisk. Those are teams on your roster, or on your schedule, I should say. Georgia, Alabama, Texas, LSU, Texas A&M, Florida, Auburn, Oklahoma, all ahead of Tennessee in terms of 24/7's composite. South Carolina, Ole Miss, Missouri, Arkansas, and Mississippi State, who had a nice win last night. Also in the top 25, top 24 in terms of overall talent. Does that change the way anybody feels?
No, it doesn't.
No, because you asked me if they were scarier. I don't know what that composite looked like about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But then I would also go, how many is this team going to have drafted in the first and second round, third round, compared to those teams?
And I would also say that you saw Florida on that list. USF, not more than Florida, so it's a football game.
Well, what's the difference? What's the difference between number 1 and 13, where Tennessee sits? It's not like a massive chasm of
It's about,
difference.
about 20 players.
But we have more 3-stars.
Yeah, more 3-stars.
We have 3 more 3-stars than them. So there.
When we come back, let's finish up the ETSU talk with a little 3 up, 3 down. Team Sunshine, Team Rain Cloud. Then we got some more great Georgia stuff coming up in terms of the mental aspect of a streak. We're going to talk a little bit about the SEC. We've got our pick segment to do. We got the will they or won't they. We're going to have a little fun with Chuck that he doesn't know about. Come on back. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. Folks, they've got every kind of make and model of boat you could ever want, but what they've got that tops everything else is their customer service. Bob Hodge got a boat down there years ago. You've taken advantage of their customer service. You've taken care of the service department.
Worth a drive.
Worth a drive to Madisonville, wherever you're coming from. Highway 411 North in Madisonville. There's a reason we say it. There's no better place to buy a boat.
Sunshine Sterling. Willie Rain Cloud. It's time for 3 up, 3 down. This is the Sports Source.
All right, before we get into 3 up, 3 down with Team Sunshine and Team Rain Cloud, let's take a look at the final poll results if we could. What's your level of worry for Georgia? Look at that. 43% of you say less than usual. Only, what is that, 8%? Is that what this is? We're doomed?
8%.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Normal worry dropped a little. Less than usual up to 43%. And 12% of you out there say it's our year.
And they've said that for the past 10 years.
We shall see. Sooner or later, though, they're going to be right.
Change gonna come.
All right, so let's talk about the positives. I'll let you guys go first in terms of 1, 2, 3. Who are your stars? Who is number 1 up?
Number 1 is still number 1 with me, Joey, our quarterback. Our quarterback is showing up. He's distributing the ball. I know we would like to see him get fast. We want everybody to get fast when it comes to anticipation. What about my offensive lineman, Mike Stoll? But he's getting people the ball. He's accurate with his pass, had some drops. Came back after a drop on second and medium, ended up being third and medium. Came back and completed a pass for a first down. That's the type of toughness I like seeing my quarterback.
All right, what's the second up, Chuck?
Well, the one that really jumped out. Second up, Chuck. Boo Carter. 4 punt returns. What was it, 94 yards? I thought he was going to score twice. Set up 2 short scoring drives. One time really flashed on defense, closing speed, making a tackle. Here's the thing, the Georgia punter, the Thorson, is back from an ACL. He doesn't allow punt returns. He went like a whole season and didn't allow one. What could you do if Boo Carter gets on the field?
Ahead.
Okay. But I'm just talking about Boo Carter. Boo Carter.
Okay, and he was electric. I mean, yes. If people don't see you as your most explosive player, I don't know what they're looking at. All right, who's the third up?
We've got a lot of stars in the galaxy, but we got one in our backfield, baby. I like this guy out of Duke, baby. This star is running the ball like he stole something. I like that, baby. And we got the Bulldogs coming. He's coming to get the Alpo. baby.
So we got Joey Aguilar, Boo Carter, Star Thomas.
Yes, sir.
And Mike Matthews and Chris Brazel, not on the list, but certainly deserving.
Deserving.
And it's tough to go with anybody defensively because they've rotated those guys, and it's playing ETSU. They don't pile up the stats. Okay, enough of the good. Now
This is the hard choice section. Next week,
Tennessee scored 72 points. What were the problems?
Yeah.
All right, who are the three worst? You're three down, number one.
You know, when you do that, you got to dig.
Yep.
So we kind of tied it back into Boo Carter too, because Caleb Beasley,
Okay. Is your number one down?
backup defensive back. Yeah. If he makes a block that he was set up to make
on the punter,
you get a touchdown.
Yes.
All you got to do is block the punter. Boo Carter goes into the end zone for a touchdown. Plus, he also had a little problem on defense on ETSU's first score. So, like I said, you got to go deep. But Caleb Beasley.
That's why I was surprised you guys made him your number one down. Okay, who's your number two down?
Pendleton, center, right?
Yeah, that's
quarterback
to me,
center
that's the obvious
exchange,
way.
right?
Yeah,
right, like
yeah.
that's going to show up the worst. Like if that continues, that could cost you a game, especially in a tight game against like Georgia. You can't spot somebody in the 5-yard line right there. You got to figure that out. As you said, John, that is not a this is showing up out of nowhere kind of thing. There's been stories, rumors saying this has been a problem. We got to lock it down and fix it.
And I will say this too. The snap was bad. Period. I mean, it's way bad. Aguilar should have just fallen on it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the other part.
Yeah.
We got to say that he needs to just fall. So take him off the one up. Okay. All right. Who's your three down?
Well, we're going to go over to UT, go into the athletics building, and knock on the door on whoever makes the schedule.
Danny White.
Okay, Danny White. If it's his call, I don't want. It was great to see 72 points, I guess. But I mean, you bring in ETSU. Last year, you brought in Chattanooga. You brought in Kent State. You still got New Mexico. Somebody coming.
New Mexico State.
I mean,
Come on, man.
I think yesterday it was rainy, but by the end of the game, I think you saw how interesting it is to play ETSU when the last person in there was Sterling and some family members.
Maybe that moved, for me, that may move to number one on the down list. Yeah. I just hate these games. Hate those FCS.
Nothing there.
They're just useless.
Nothing there.
I mean, you look at it, it's like, well, Georgia didn't look good against Austin Peay. Yeah, it's FCS. Were they even into it? I can't grade these games. They're useless. So, all right, when we come back, still more Georgia to come, but let's look ahead on the Vols schedule. Is it what we thought it would be? We'll discuss some of those teams that we all took for granted as wins. Looking pretty good. Come on back. Welcome back. This segment of the Sports Source brought to you by Pipe Wrench. Winter is right around the corner, folks. Is your hot water heater ready for another battle with old man winter? What about your pipes? Whatever you need, from plumbing to HVAC to hot water heaters, Pipe Wrench has trained professionals in trucks all over East Tennessee just waiting for your call. PipeWrench.com. I've used them and had a great experience. They were there lickety-split, and they took care of everything first time, no need to come back or anything else. Pipe Wrench Home Services. Give them a shout this week. Visit their website. All right. Debating, at some point, this is going to be such a rout that I'm going to feel sorry for Nico and not put it up there. But yesterday, the Bruins lose at UNLV, 30-23. His stats were 255 yards passing. He did have a nice 30-yard touchdown run, also threw a key pick. On the season, certainly Joey Aguilar is the guy that's got the advantage so far. Specifically, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, versus 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Granted, they've played a little bit, their competition's been a little stiffer than Tennessee's, but still. All right, at some point we may take that down. Let's talk about it right now. Who would be for stopping the Nico rub it in their face? Or do you like me putting it up there?
Keep rubbing for a while.
It's too early. I'd probably keep showing it for a little while.
Yeah, I'd keep. You don't have to rub it in the face, but keep doing it.
Okay. I'm a softie. I feel bad. All right, here we go. Let's look around the SEC. Josh Ward, after the USF upset of Florida last night in Gainesville, if you had to put your life savings on who will be coaching in the SEC next year, possibly at Florida, will it be Billy Napier or will it be Alex Golish? Who would you put your money on?
Yeah, I was going to be willing to change the question to who will be coaching at Florida next
Yeah,
year. And
okay,
I would
there you
maybe
go.
be more
Sorry,
likely
I
to bet on
stole
Golish than Billy Napier. Napier was able to save himself last year. They got to a bad start, and to their credit, they rallied and they had a good finish. But I don't even know if that finish would save him this season. So I don't, with that, what that schedule is, even though they have talent there,
Yes.
I don't think it's going to work out. I would bet on Golish over Napier.
That finish last year didn't win anybody over. It was almost like it was a stay of execution. And because I don't think the fans ever bought in on this guy. They haven't bought in on anybody since Urban Meyer, really.
Sunbelt Billy, I think is what they call him.
That's right. Bob Hodge, quick two-part question for you. Did Oklahoma's win over Michigan improve your view of the Sooners? That's part one. Part two, at any point watching that game, did it feel like Big Ten versus SEC?
I'm going to answer the first part second. No, it didn't. It just felt like watching a big football game because Oklahoma did not feel like they're an SEC team yet to me.
And they won't for a long time.
Okay, big game on ABC. But for the second question, yes. I did not have Oklahoma ranked as lowly as some people did anyway. I thought when they came to Tennessee, that's a 50-50 game.
Yeah.
And after watching them yesterday, okay, I'm still going to say it's a 50-50 game, but if somebody said you got to bet one way or another, Mateer, out of watching games 2 weekends, looked like the best player I have seen in 2 weekends of watching football.
He's an elite quarterback. And the question was always, would Brent Venables, a defensive coach, allow the offense to do their thing the same way that Clark Lee did with Diego Pavia and Jerry Kill and that offensive coordinator? And so far, Oklahoma has. Jimmy Himes, in terms of talent on the roster, Mississippi State ranks number 24 on that 24/7 sports list that I showed earlier. Yesterday, they used a touchdown that should have been brought back. That was they came back and had a nice play to win the thing, but that touchdown they got helped them. Still, though, upset Arizona State, ranked opponent. Has your view changed of Tennessee's trip to Starkville?
Yes, it has. Arizona State was a team that was in the playoff last year. They gave Texas fits. They've got a very good quarterback. They got an outstanding receiver. And Mississippi State was able to beat them, led 17-0. Blake Shapen is a good quarterback. He only played 4 games a year ago, but he was really good at Baylor. They've got a couple of nice receivers. Their running backs are decent. Now, they have more 3-stars than Tennessee.
There you go.
That's a concern.
Yeah, don't be worried about the 3-stars.
But, Mississippi State is better than I anticipated.
All right, and we didn't have time in this segment to even mention one other team on Tennessee's schedule. Now, Kentucky looked awful. There's another guy where Golish could be coaching at Kentucky. If he's smart, he'll wait for something better. But Vanderbilt, didn't even have time in this segment to mention Vanderbilt going to Virginia Tech and beating them 44-20. Wow. Pretty good.
There was a time when Vandy couldn't score 44 in 2 weeks.
I thought you were going to go with even more games than that. Yeah, all right. When we come back, Tennessee hasn't beaten Georgia since 2016, the Hail Mary game. How does that weigh into a player's mindset? If something bad goes your way and you're on the team that wins all the time, you still have confidence. If you're Tennessee, something goes against you, you're like, oh boy, here we go again. Does that weigh in the way it would mine? Does that weigh in with players? We got that next. Come on back on the Sports Source. Welcome back into the Sports Source, folks. I want you to check something out for me. I want you to check out hardhittingtea.com. If you're looking for a game day drink that Al Wilson would approve of, this is the one, because Al Wilson has been involved in the making of this drink and making sure it lives up to his standards and meets his tastes. It's available at most package stores, grocery stores, and gas stations all around East Tennessee. Please drink responsibly, but you see Al right there next to the photo we have on set that you're about to see in a second. I do want to make the announcement that next Sunday, a week from today, Al Wilson will be with us on the show. And I have a feeling guys it's going to be like the NBA. I'm going to say clear out for Al. So Al Wilson doesn't do a lot of media events, doesn't do a lot of media deals. So we're going to take advantage of him next week. But that's after the Georgia game. Al Wilson will be here. All right. Want to talk to the VFLs. Georgia has an 8-game winning streak over Tennessee. How much does that play into a player's mentality? If you're Georgia and something goes against you early, do you sit there and go, it's Tennessee, we got this? on the other side, if you're a Tennessee player and something goes against you, do you go, oh boy, here we go, it's Georgia? Or is that just fan think? Let's go over to Will Overstreet and the VFL, Sterling Hinton and Mike Stoll. Will, take it away.
Thanks, John. Well, I know for me, I'll just say it personally, when we played Kentucky my senior year, we got down by about 3 touchdowns at one point, and I had zero worries because I said, it's Kentucky. We are not going to lose this game. We'll figure something out, and we'll come back and we'll win. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. I think there is something to it, that if you have a very strong belief, if you have history, at times you're going to go into a game and go, yeah, something goes wrong, we'll figure it out, we'll get it back. I don't know about for you guys, Sterl, Mike, but I think for me, that's where I would say there is some of that too.
We felt that same way about the Kentucky and Vandy. We went to Remember What You Do in November type deal, and I guess Alabama felt that way about us, but when we played. But my thing now, the key word you said yesterday was history. Because right now, a lot of the kids don't have much history. Then there's the transfer portal has gotten some things so wide open now to where I think the fans feel a certain way because they're attached to the power team for a longer period of time with that history and the games that have come. But now the players, they go out there and play, and they're in different uniforms almost every year now.
I want to go to the dark side and agree with you, Will. However, Sterling makes a great point. Believe it or not, back in the day, we had a streak against Alabama, and it was not going our way. And we pulled out every stop we could to try and beat them. And it just didn't go our way. And that got in our heads. That bothered us. I was like, God, we got to beat them. We got to beat them. We got to beat them. And
we're better.
They were confident in the fact that they could. I do agree with Sterling now. There is not as much history with these players because of NIL. Like, how many guys were here 3 years ago that were part of these losses that are still here? So it's moving around. So I do think it is part of it, but is not as it used to be back in the day when it's like, you're there for 4 years and you see it every single year.
Yeah, and I guess that is the case because a lot of times you also knew, who did I play last year? And if I knew I played a certain guy last year and I thought he was a chump or whatever and didn't think he was good enough to get me, he wasn't going to get me the next year either. So I think that is part of it. I think there's a changing landscape. To me, though, it's hard to reckon. Even as a fan, we continue to see now things like the Kentucky thing holds up for Tennessee. So you just kind of wonder, maybe the coaching staff's been there long enough to have that holdover of it's in their minds and not just the players.
Well, coaches coach, players play, baby. The players gonna play, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, sir.
So, John, I think overall there's a mix of truth to this, but maybe less truth now because of NIL.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting take on that. I will say, I wonder how much, though, is that's just the collective thing. I noticed after the Syracuse game, Colton Hood came out and made a comment that this was about proving the doubters wrong. We proved that we're the same team we were last year. Colton Hood was at Colorado last year. So I just wonder how much I'm here now. The coaches talk about we never lose to Tennessee or Tennessee never loses to Kentucky, and they just absorb it rather than having actual memories of beating that team. I don't know. I think that's a great point by Sterling Hinton, though. All right, when we come back, time to play Will They or Won't They? And, this one's a big one. When it comes to Tennessee, Georgia, will Tennessee do this? Will they not do this? And I got a real special one in there that Chuck is going to like because he almost stepped on it earlier talking about Boo Carter. Come on back. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Safety Systems. It's football time in Tennessee, and to celebrate, Safety Systems is offering any new customers 90 free days of monitoring on one of their security systems. That's 3 months free. Call Safety Systems this week, and VFL J.J. Surlis and his team will take good care of you like they do my house. J.J. Surlis, of course, a teammate of Sterling Hinton and Mike Stoll over here. We won't have them tell you about him, though, because that won't be. These guys don't say good things about each other. I'm kidding. All right, let's take a look. We got the four horsemen of the apocalypse are lined up over there. If we could get a shot of, there we go. We got our VFLs ready. They've got their thumbs ready. This is a segment we call Will They or Won't They? 4 quick questions. I will start, then we'll go around with the media guys as well, but I will start with the players. The last 4 years under Josh Heupel, Tennessee has averaged, versus Georgia, 14 points a game. And Tennessee has reached 21 points just once in the last 8 games versus Georgia. Will the Vols score at least 20 next Saturday? Yes, yes, yes. I can't see Ollie. I guess they're all yeses. Yes. Wow. Okay. I'm not even going to ask them. I'll go here to Chuck. 20? Tennessee going to score 20 next week?
Yeah, you would think so. I mean,
would you? Only once in the last 8 years. None with Heupel here.
If it's the over, yeah, I'll go 20 and a half. Okay. And setting the over on that.
Okay. I went to the wrong guy on that one. All right. Here we go. Back for the VFLs. The last 3 years, Tennessee has averaged 170 yards passing, and they have not gone over 200 yards passing against Georgia. Will Tennessee throw for 215 yards next Saturday versus Georgia? We got a couple of no's. Oh, we got 3 no's. Sterling is the only one. Do I need to ask? Okay, why yes, Sterling?
Joey's going to have a breakout game. I think we got a couple of wrinkles we haven't shown yet that Georgia's not prepared for. It's going to be productive.
Why no for your other guys?
I think they're going to rely heavily on the run game. The run game's been a huge aspect so far, so why would you go away from that now?
Good spin.
Haven't seen our wide receivers get off press coverage like Georgia's going to run, and that's been a struggle for the last several years. So you haven't seen our guys be able to get off those guys.
Mike?
You're going to see a lot of short-range passes, no deep balls.
Okay. We'll go to Bob here. Will Tennessee throw for 215 against Georgia?
You know what? I'm going to agree with Sterling and say, yeah, I think they will.
Positive Bob.
Sterling,
There we go.
sitting beside Sterling rubs off.
There it is. Old Homer Bob. What would you expect? Okay, let's go back to the VFLs. This one ties to an earlier segment. The last 8 years, Georgia has averaged 205 yards rushing versus Tennessee. But the last 3 years, that average has dropped to 131 yards rushing against Tennessee. Will Tennessee hold Georgia to 110 yards or fewer on the ground Saturday?
Kind of
Well, we split the panel. All right. Oh, no, it's the same way. Okay. Sterling, quickly, why yes?
Well, I think we rested a couple of D tackles that were hurt. We got some different blitz packages we haven't shown yet. I think we're going to surprise Georgia with a lot of things we got in our pocket that we haven't unleashed yet.
All right, now the other negators. Tell me why
if you'd said less than 125, I'd have gone with you. I think the 110, that area, I just think that's too low. We're not going to hold them to that.
I think we're short on the depth to be able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strong suit of Georgia. They run the football, and they run the football really well. So, I mean, it's hard to believe that you're going to be able to hold them underneath that 110-yard threshold.
But again, of their 5 losses of the last 4 years, 4 times they were held under 100. So, all right, here's the last one. And this is why
I don't get to chime in.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Jimmy. Chime.
While Tennessee is unleashing new wrinkles, so will Georgia's run game. Unleash it. I think the difference is going to be Gunnar Stockton and his running ability, and I think they'll get over 110. Not much over, but over 110.
Okay. Here's the one I shushed you for earlier. All right. It's obvious Boo Carter is Tennessee's most explosive player with the ball in his hands. Will he touch the ball on offense at least twice? Okay, Ollie. Let's. Ollie's the only one to say no. Ollie's the only one that played over there under Josh Heupel with this system. Ollie, why do you say no?
I don't foresee the package ever really making fruition that Boo Carter is going to be on the offense, especially with the noisy offseason that he's had. I think it's just par for the course. They're trying to just get him back to playing the defense and the punt returner side. Well, I think the offensive side's kind of lost the focus.
Josh, should they get him 2 touches or no?
I mean, with the football, there's a difference. But I agree with Ollie. I think if the summer and the offseason had been as they wanted it, then my answer would be different. But I think the focus will be on being a good defender, especially with the injuries they've dealt with on that side. I think injuries on offense would be the only thing that changes Boo's opportunity there.
I think you're probably right. That's why I made it as the number was 2 and not just one trick play. But, boy, if you don't put the ball in his – and I granted he could turn it over. Who knows what could happen. But end around, jet sweep, I would find a way to put that thing in his hands.
And John,
Screen behind the line of scrimmage.
I would wonder just having him on the field on offense can change things. Georgia has to notice he's out
Well,
there.
I think you got to use him, though,
Okay,
because
well,
Heupel has a history of, we've talked about this, Ollie.
Pretending.
You hear the defense saying, okay, he's in. So you know it's that trick
Right.
play. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
When we come back, it's the Cavalaris line. It was not a good week for the casino.
We split the panel.
Lost money. Lost money. He already sounds sad, doesn't he? I got a photo of him yesterday after the numbers were cooked. He looks very sad. Come back, we'll show it to you, and we'll make our Georgia picks next. This segment of the Sports Source brought to you by Games and Things. Right now there's a deal on Palliser home theater seats that cannot be beat. Games and Things is the place to go to take advantage. I did. About 6 years ago, I bought a pair of Palliser seats from Scott and Lisa Mellon, and I have liked them so much that the next time I need home theater seats, I'll do Palliser again, and I'll do them from Games and Things. You can do that right now and get a great deal thanks to this special on Palliser home theater seats. Get out there and visit them. Games and Things, the corner of Kingston Pike and Lovell Road. Okay, it is time for the Cavalaris line. Now, last week, Chuck stole money from the rest of us. The casino won big, and you might remember how he had a good big time laughing about taking our cash. I'm calling for the graphic. There we go. There it is. Okay, so
What a handsome guy.
that was the happy. All right, and now we have to do that so we can get to the next graphic. Maybe we'll do away with this next week. And this week, he lost $500 at the casino. Not as happy. Big loser. Big loser.
Downtrodden Chuck.
Yeah, big loser. Big loser. Okay. Now, here we go. Let's take a look at the standings for Beat the House so far. Ollie is in the lead. He got $100 this week, so $700 total to Ollie. Bob is behind him at $600. Daniel $600. Me at $600. We all put $200 on Tennessee last week to cover. Josh $500. Mike actually $400. That is a mistake on my end. That's $400. Credit Mike for pointing it out. All right, he's honest. Sterling is at $500. Marlon's at $400. Jimmy and Will at $300. Yikes!
I've been around the rain cloud too much.
Chuck Cavalaris, give us your pick for Georgia. Where are you setting the line? And again, just to remind folks, Chuck sets the line to split the panel. This is not what he thinks the actual line will be necessarily. It's to split our panel. Go, Chuck.
Boy, I tell you what, it's tough. When you're looking at Georgia and Tennessee, Georgia's going for a record 9th straight win over the Vols. The games have not even really been close. Sterling Hinton has convinced me this is the time Tennessee turns the tables. 3:30 kickoff. I tell you what, I'm going conservative. I'm going to go Vols plus 7.5 on this line.
Okay, Vols plus 7.5. Let's see. All right, Vols plus 7.5. So, Ollie, you get to pick. Do you think the Vols will stay within basically 8 points of 7 points?
Yes, I do.
So you're taking Tennessee. How much you betting?
I'll put 200 on it. I trust us. I believe in us.
Wow, 200.
Man.
Look at that, Ollie.
Hey, I got money to spend. Might as well use it.
All right, next up would be Bob Hodge. Bob, what are you doing? We got 200 from Ollie.
I'm going all Ollie. 200, Tennessee.
200 on the Vols. I'll get Daniel next. Ah, crap. I'm not as...
Must be a good line.
I'll do 100 on Tennessee.
Okay.
100 on UT. Tennessee. Josh, what do you think?
Man, I'm going 100 on Tennessee as well. I don't have as much money as Ollie and Bob up there to spend, but yeah, 100 on Tennessee.
Okay, I forgot to, might help. Well, I don't know about Daniel yet. A little T there for all of them. All right, Sterling?
You know, I'm glad you put Josh in front of me this week, and we got the same amount of money as we had last week. Well, we're even, and we lost, but I wore this plaid shirt for Josh. He wore a plaid shirt last week, so I owe him $100. I'm going $200 Tennessee. Let's go.
There you go, Sterling.
$200 on the
Yes,
Vols
sir.
for Sterling?
Too
Mike
large.
Stoll.
$100 Tennessee.
Wow.
That was quick. All right. 100. Marlon Walls, I'll get his later. And Will Overstreet.
Well, rain cloud here. I'm gonna go Georgia. Everybody else is going $100 on Georgia.
$100 on Georgia. Rain cloud does it. All right.
I noticed some of your T's look like crosses. Is that a sign?
Yeah. All right, very quickly here. We got about a minute here. So whoever wants to jump in and take it can. I know it feels like because Tennessee's lost to this team. I mean, the last 4 times in Knoxville, it's been an average score of 41-10.
I'll take Georgia.
Oh, did I not ask you? I guess Oh,
I'm with the
I
rain
didn't have your
cloud.
name. Yeah, I didn't have it up there.
100.
Okay. Who'd you take? Georgia?
Yeah.
Dang it.
Whatever Will says, that's what I'm going
Yeah. Now we got like 40 seconds. So here's the deal. Last year, even though it feels like you can't beat them, is this Tennessee team better than Ole Miss last year? Because Ole Miss beat them last year. No. Is this Tennessee team better than Alabama last year? Because Alabama beat them last year. It feels to Tennessee like Georgia's unbeatable. Not to Georgia and Alabama last year. And I don't know that Georgia's as good as they were last year. So, 30 seconds, who wants it? Is Tennessee good enough to beat this team?
Absolutely.
I mean, let's go with the Will and Jimmy. How shocked are you going to be if it goes the other way and Tennessee wins it?
I would be a little bit shocked because, I like I said, the level of competition we play at this point, to say, like, you're going to beat Georgia, who's a legitimate team, top 10 team, that's going to be a big challenge. So I think it'd be a little bit of a shock.
Okay.
I think it's possible, but it's not likely.
Would you be shocked?
I would be surprised, and I wouldn't say shocked. I think Tennessee's got a puncher's chance.
Okay. All right. Thanks to all these guys. A little disjointed today. My apologies. We'll see you next Sunday right back here with Al Wilson. And we'll see you Saturday. Watch us, our pregame show, 11 a.m. right here on Channel 6. Pregame show next week on Saturday at 11 a.m. Don't watch College Game Day. Watch us. It's a full hour. It's a full hour of Tennessee. What do you care what happens with Tucson Tech and Aloysius State?